My husband told me about the trip like it was an afterthought. We were doing dishes. The TV was murmuring in the living room, something we weren't really watching. I was drying, he was rinsing. He kept staring into the sink like the plate had personally offended him. By the way, he said casual, like he was reminding me we were out of paper towels. I'm going away next weekend. I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, because it didn't make sense. Since when? I asked. He shrugged, water still running. I've been thinking about it. We usually plan things together calendars, PTO requests. Who was feeding the neighbor's cat? This wasn't how we did things. Where? I asked, trying to keep my tone light. Just a guy's trip, old friends. I need a break. The way he said need made it sound final, like a door closing. Which friends? I asked. He named two guys from years ago, men I recognized only from old photos and stories that always started with back when we were idiots. Then, too quickly, he added, It's not really a partner thing. We just want to reconnect, like old times. Oh, I said. Okay, and how long? He finally looked at me then. Just for a second. Don't worry about it, I'll be back before you know it. Something about the way he said it made my stomach tighten. Not wrong, just sealed. Like the conversation had already been decided somewhere else. I nodded anyway, because that's what you do when you don't want to start a fight over a feeling you can't prove. But for the first time in our marriage, I felt like I'd been dismissed instead of included. The questions came later, quiet ones at first. So, where are you guys staying? I asked one night, brushing my teeth. Someplace cheap, he said, already scrolling on his phone. How much is this trip anyway? Stuff's just expensive now. And you didn't think to mention it before? He glanced at me in the mirror. I didn't think it mattered. It did matter, but I couldn't seem to explain why without sounding needy. So I tried again, slower, calmer. Can you just tell me the plan? That's when his tone changed. He sighed, long and heavy, like I'd asked him to carry something unbearable. Why are you making this a thing? He said. It's just a trip. You're reading into it. Reading into it, like curiosity was a flaw, like wanting to understand was a character defect. The night before he left, he zipped his bag and said, Don't text too much, okay? Reception might be bad, and I don't want to be on my phone the whole time. Right, I said. Wouldn't want to bother you. He didn't catch the edge in my voice. I watched him pack clothes that didn't match the story. Button-downs, new shoes, a jacket he only wore to weddings and work events. Since when do you dress like that for the guys? I asked, trying to sound teasing. He smiled. What, I can't look decent around my friends? I told myself to drop it. I told myself marriage meant trust, but trust shouldn't feel like swallowing your own voice. The first day was quiet. Too quiet. No made it safe, no blurry photo from the road, no late night miss you. I told myself he was busy. The second day I checked our bank account. 3 withdrawals, cash, all from a city he said they weren't going to. My chest felt tight, like I'd missed a step going downstairs. There's always a reasonable explanation until there isn't. That night, around 10 p.m., I texted, Hope you're having fun. Miss you. No response. At midnight, I checked his location. It was off. The next morning, there was one message. Sorry, long night. Talk later. Later never came. What did come was a notification from our phone bill, one of those detailed logs I'd never really looked at before. Unfamiliar numbers, repeated calls, late hours. And then, by accident, I found the message he forgot to delete. It wasn't explicit. It didn't need to be. Last night was fun. Same place tonight? My hands were shaking so badly I had to sit down. I didn't confront him right away. I waited. I watched. I let him come home. He hugged me too tightly, kissed my forehead like he was checking off a box. Said, God, I needed that trip. Yeah? I asked. Where did you stay? He named a place I already knew he hadn't been. And who all went? I asked. He hesitated. Just a fraction. Then one name disappeared. Another one appeared. I didn't argue. I just put my phone on the table and slid it toward him. Explain this. The color drained from his face. Not guilt, panic. He tried to minimize first. It's not what you think. Then deny. You're taking it out of context. Then reframe. I didn't want to hurt you. So you planned not to? I asked quietly. He opened his mouth, closed it. That's when I realized the truth hadn't come out slowly. It had been buried carefully. The trip ended, but nothing went back to normal. Trust doesn't reset just because someone's suitcase is unpacked. I replayed every moment I'd been told I was overreacting, every question I'd swallowed, every time my discomfort had been framed as the problem. What hurt most wasn't the betrayal, it was the planning. The decisions made in advance. The version of me he assumed would never find out. The silence he expected me to live with. We're in that strange space now, between endings and pretending, between apologies and consequences. And I've learned something I wish I'd known earlier. If someone tells you not to ask questions, it's usually because the answers won't survive daylight.